Alright guys, welcome to a special show, man. We got a great guest on today, man. I don't usually do this, man, but what we got down here is the most unique individual. You guys that have watched my podcast and channel for the last year have heard me kind of bitch about being out in the middle of nowhere, and I've met a unique individual here who lives even further out in the middle of nowhere, man, but wait till you see this, man, alright? I call him the Wizard of Chaos, the Renaissance man of the wasteland, the Lovecraftian lord of the underground, musician, comic book creator, all-around character, man, that is of massive proportion. I introduce you to Dionysus MetalCult.
It is I, brothers and sisters. And how are you, baby? Hope you're ready for this.
And we're back. Alright, what you just saw there, if the editing went right, is that you got a little taste of this man's music. You got a little taste, and you're about to get a little taste of a lot more of what this does. This has got to be one of the most creative guys that I have met down here. And I tell you what, man, it was a breath of fresh air to freaking see somebody down here like this, okay? So basically, let's talk a little bit about you and stuff like that. First of all, you got your Metal Cult comic book that you put out.
That's issue number 2.
Alright. And then he gave me another one here.
And this is our latest issue, Metalcultcomics Special Numero Uno, Special Edition, baby.
Right, okay. So basically, tell me everything you do on this book. I mean, just what do you do on all this?
Everything I do is basically everything I do. We're talking about the scripting. We're talking about the writing. We're talking about the illustration. We're talking about the production, the text, the balloons, the sound effects, the pages, the publishing, the printing. Every single aspect of Metal Cult Comics is done in-house, independently, do-it-yourself, by moi.
Yeah, and this is really good stuff, man. It's only 300 cents, and we're going to put in some information down here at the end of the video and probably down in the description box where you can get all this stuff. So basically, what we have here, this is Dionysus MetalCult, if you haven't figured that out by now, right? And to understand where we live at down here and stuff like that, it's 30 minutes before you get anywhere. Okay, that's what amazes me. I actually compare this man to Terry Gilliam. Okay, if you guys know who Terry Gilliam is, basically this guy grew up like in Minnesota or something amongst just fields of corn. That was like his palette. And all those great movies that came up with Brazil, Baron Munchausen and stuff, it was like those fields of freaking wheat or whatever it was his palette, and all came out of his head. So when I met this guy down here in farmland, and I'm not putting the place down, there's some nice people and stuff, I just could not believe that somebody had their act together down here and had that creative spark that we all love, and you know who you are out there, that's here. So, I'm really, grateful to meet you, and I'm glad you did this.
Thanks, brother.
All right, man. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to try to do like kind of an interview here, but you know how this channel goes, so we'll see what happens here, man. All right, so basically the first thing I'm going to do is your music, and you got your comic books, so we'll go through the comic stuff. Your comic here, man, is this about your characters? Are they in your band and stuff?
Yes, they are. I write about and I draw about what I know, and what I know is heavy metal music, and I know me, and that's what the comic book is about. It's basically my life story and the life story of all of the individuals who are with me to embark upon this quest of heavy metal enlightenment. I've been working on heavy metal music for my entire life. Since I was 16 years old, I joined my brother's band, and he got me started on playing the drums, and I eventually worked my way into singing, and several years later I found myself starting my own band, Cult of Dionysus, basically to break a cycle that had been plaguing me from the beginning of my quest. Basically, what happens in most underground metal bands is people will get together and they'll have a united ideal in the beginning.
Right.
And then as things progress, people grow, people change, people move along. And what happens is the band dissolves. And then people such as myself are left to pick up the pieces and move on in a different band. I got tired of doing that for quite a while in some different groups, and finally,
and that's why a lot of people get out of it.
Exactly.
This is what I'm saying. It's like you kind of kept the dream going. There's a lot of people out there, including me, that were in bands and all this stuff, and you're doing it. You're making the comics. You're doing it. Now, I've sat here and talked about how we're like way out here in the middle of nowhere, but by no means are you just more or less a local band. You guys get out there.
Yeah, we've played North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Tennessee. We have quite a following in Canada, all around the world. Several people in different countries follow the group. We've been reviewed in Bulgaria. We've got a guy in Indonesia that discovered the band recently and offered up some of his unique artwork. The dude also has done some work from some more famous bands, some of which you may have heard of. One band in particular, Suicide Silence.
Actually, I've heard them. I saw you a year ago, right? A year ago when I first moved down here. I got out and there was like 5 bands playing down here in Galax, Virginia.
Yeah, of all places.
Yeah, and I think you were the 3rd band to come out. And when you came out, man, cool. I saw the Stash.
The Stash, baby.
The Stash is its own celebrity down here, man. There's kids that I've seen them, man, at football games where they get the little stash put on. And you give those out with your comics when you sell them at these cons.
That's right. Free with every purchase, baby.
Yeah, this man does not just sit around and make these books and play around with his band and stuff. This man is out promoting. He gets tables at conventions. What else do you do? Because that's where I've seen you.
I basically live online pimping and promoting the band. I mean, if I had a mutant superpower, it would be sales and marketing, and that's what I do.
Isn't it refreshing to see a man that whores himself out and he does it himself?
I am the pimp and the whore all rolled into one motherfucker, baby.
You heard it. All right, man. I love it. This is awesome. All right, man. Okay, so we'll break it down a little bit. You've been doing music your whole life. How long have you been doing this comic?
The comic has been going on regularly now since 2010. It really started off as a fluke. The way that my band got signed to a company called Project Alpha in 2010 was they were interested in working with a group that pretty much had its own style and organization down. What I mean by that is someone who's already out there promoting themselves and doing unique things to get the word out about themselves. And one of the things that I decided I wanted to do a long time ago is mix 2 of my favorite things in the world, and that's metal and comics. A couple of my heroes, Kiss and Alice Cooper, were pioneers in the rock and roll comics crossover. Marvel Comics worked with them in the 70s. And so 2010, I was approached by Project Alpha, and after I had described the plan that I had in mind for Cult of Dionysus with the comic book and the marketing and the merchandising behind it, and the personalities behind the band, and how we were going to drive ourselves to be one of the best underground groups in the world, even though we're here in nowhere, Virginia, in the USA. When they heard what I had in mind, they signed the band, they got us in the studio, and we created the Alchemy album, which contained 7 songs, and the first issue of Metalcultcomics followed soon after that in 2011. And basically the comic book was intended to really kind of introduce the world to the Cult of Dionysus, aka the Metal Cult, hence Metalcultcomics. And this brings me to an interesting side note here. One of the things that we ran into early on with the band is the difficulty of pronouncing and spelling the word Dionysus.
All right.
Which some people say and spell differently, and we embrace every single pronunciation, every single spelling, and we have an easy way around it with the simple solution, Metal Cult.
Gotcha. Now, being a D&D guy from the 80s, H.P. Lovecraft's a big influence on you, right?
Absolutely.
So
one of the biggest.
Let's touch on where you got Dionysus real quick, man. I like where that went. Dionysus, if I remember, and you correct me here, all right, was the god of harvest, madness, okay?
Fertility, sexual expression and freedom.
Okay.
Wine.
When did you find this? When did you find this and it grabbed you?
When I was a kid, I did some research. I mean, when you're young and there's not a lot to do in Grayson County, Virginia, you tend to spend a lot of time, if you're an intellectual kid, nerdy dude like myself, I want to learn, I want to explore, I want to educate myself. So I spend a lot of time in the library.
You're preaching to the choir now, man.
Well, most people just hit the internet these days, and I'm kind of showing my age, but back in the day, you really had to want to learn
Yeah.
if you wanted to find out about the world and history and civilization. So I spent time in the library, baby.
Yeah, just an observation. I think that's why you're so passionate about a lot of this stuff. It started way back, and you had to dig, and the passion was there when you found it.
Yes.
Now
That's where I discovered Dionysus. Dennis, the root meaning of the word Dennis
Greco-Roman.
is Dionysus.
I knew it was when I was having a kid, and we named him Devin. But I actually saw the name Dionysus, and I thought it was the root for Dennis.
Yes.
And I kind of cracked up when I remembered that here.
And of course, I'm revealing my secret identity here, but I think I can
Want me to edit it
trust
out?
you folks here with this secret identity, Dennis guy. Yes, I am Dionysus.
You want me to edit it out?
No.
All right, we're not editing that out.
No.
Okay, I know who you are, and I know where you watch this at. So don't screw me over here. All right. Now you're also a comic book guy, right? I mean, this is a comic book channel.
Absolutely.
That's why we're here.
Many,
All right.
many years. Addict for life, baby.
Okay.
Comic book addict for life.
Influences. What were the comics that got you?
Robert Crumb, without a doubt. Gilbert Sheldon. So we're talking Zap Comics. We're
Okay.
talking Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm a big fan of early Marvel. Jack Kirby.
There you
Steve
go.
Ditko.
He's a Kirby guy, man. That
Yeah.
makes like 90% of you out there happy.
Jack Kirby,
Me too.
the king.
Kirby
The
is
master.
everywhere. Kirby's influence.
Fantastic Four. Silver Surfer. Galactus.
Yeah, and that's the thing about a lot of comic book guys from our era and stuff like that. The difference between, and I could be wrong here, the difference between our generation, because we found out we are close to the same age, and the guys that are picking up stuff now. In our day, you picked up a pencil when you read that stuff.
Mm.
It made you want to create and stuff.
Yes.
And Kirby was right there. So I know that makes a lot of people happy out there.
Alan Moore, Neil Gaiman, Frank Miller. I mean, the list goes on and on. A lot of my influence comes from the 70s and 80s, but I really enjoy the Golden Age artists, the masters.
There you go. You got any of them in mind, or just in general?
Wow, all of the entire staff at EC Comics.
There you go.
I mean, quite frankly, that really covers some of the best.
Jack
The Golden
Davis,
Age, yeah.
all of them, man. All right, that is cool. Who do you think had the biggest influence on your comics career that's going on right now?
Comics career, the comics aspect, without a doubt, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if it were not for Frank Miller.
There you
Frank
go.
Miller's work, obviously in Marvel, got himself established, but then he did his own thing with Dark Horse in Sin City, and that really opened my eyes to how someone could realistically do their own thing without any parameters, any rules, anybody setting any kind of boxes around what you have to do as far as creating a comic book goes.
Yeah, and it sounds like that might have carried over into your music, because your music there, not to get all over the place here, your music here, now when we're talking about heavy metal and underground, I don't think people quite understand what that is. I don't like putting things in a genre and stuff, you know what I'm saying? But with your music and stuff, is there a process there that you can compare with what you learned from, like, what we just talked about, the parameters and the boxes?
Oh, absolutely. The music and the comic book are designed exactly the same way. It
There
is
you go.
totally underground. It is a reflection of me personally, and the band is also a reflection of all of the collective members expressing themselves in a very unique way. When it comes to heavy metal, I think metal really is the most expressive musical genre. There are like underground comics, there's no boundaries or parameters, and if there was a rule book, we fucking threw it away years ago and quit even bothering about it. We just basically do what we feel, what feels good, not worried about what's popular, what genres are hip or cool today, totally going against the grain. To be quite honest with you, Cult of Dionysus is possibly a bit ahead of our time. I don't know if planet Earth is quite ready for what we have to offer right now. They're coming around, though. You're about to discover the truth.
Yeah.
Pay attention.
Yeah. Now the music scene and stuff like that, I'll pop in here, man, because I'm like a huge music fan and stuff like that. But like usually that's why I like the fact that you're talking about being underground, because that stuff is usually what surfaces when everything gets kind of stale and stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's what's happening right now.
You know, if you like Nirvana and the movement that happened in the 90s, it was there before with the Pixies. If you like the punk scene that came out in the 70s, that all started with MC5 and Iggy Pop back in '68 and stuff like that. So for what you guys are doing, that's what I like about it. You know, that's what I like about it. It's progressive. It doesn't sound like anything that's going on there today.
Thank you.
So, all right, now your work routine here, right? How you make your comic, okay? That's what fascinated me, because I think we talked about a month ago at a hobby show. And you had your comics out there, and I kind of asked, how did you do this? Do you want to go into exactly the process of your comic?
I will be glad to reveal the secret of Metalcultcomics to your readership, because I do believe that my approach can be very helpful for those who might not know how to get into comics. They might want to do their own thing, and I can offer a few shortcuts.
Yeah, because there's people out there, there's like one or two guys out there. One guy's, I can't remember his channel name, but he's pushing a book in the image, and it sounded like it was going really well. And then we got some other guys that I've heard them kind of talk on their channel, so this would be really good for the guys out there.
All right, well, I kind of totally buck 100% the traditional method of creating comic books. You have a Bristol board, you create the page, you pencil it, you pen it, you ink it, you send it off to the publisher, scratch it, throw it all in the trash. That method is great for the established industry, but to, let's say you're someone in nowhere, Virginia in the USA, or in China, or in Canada, or in London, or in Zimbabwe, Africa, it really doesn't matter. Let's say you want to get into comics, and you have a piece of pen, you have a pen, a computer, and a very lucid imagination. You can take your simple ideas and draw them on a piece of paper, panel by panel. Draw some boxes, get an idea of what you want to do each page, and this is what happens. I take my ideas and I sketch them out on a piece of notebook paper. Then, once I have an average of 20 to 36 pages, I will take all of these pieces of notebook paper, use it as a model, and every single piece of this book, panel by panel, is drawn on a sketch pad and first inked in as just a sketch drawing, because I don't have time to pencil things and get it exactly perfect. So I just do a roundabout general ink sketch. Then I ink it in so that it's nice, correct any mistakes, scan it, enter it into my computer system, step by step, piece together each panel until I've created a page. Then I take the script to create the lettering, the balloons, the sound effects, and when I have a completed page, I compile it all into a nice tidy volume. I add, of course, my editorial section at the beginning to describe things going on in the band, details about Metalcultcomics, upcoming events, and any advertising that we want to feature in the book. And at that point, I submit the finished PDF file to my printing company for actual printing. And then I take care of all the printing, copywriting, and publishing. Metalcultcomics is owned and operated, run and organized, completely do-it-yourself, 100% by myself and my band. We write everything ourselves. I mainly take care of most of the writing, but the guys, when they want to have something interesting, say this SR-71 Blackbird jet fighter, which you'll probably, most of you may remember if you're an old school X-Men fan, is very similar. It's the exact same model jet that they used. So an interesting little piece of trivia. Metalcultcomics is also built around not only the real lifetime actions that are going on in the band, it also has nice little tidbits of cool stuff for comic book fans like myself and you guys out there. Say in issue number 2, if you're a fan of Crisis on Infinite Earths, well, Crisis on Infinite Earths is spread throughout issue 2 because I'm obsessed with the damn series and have been since I was a kid. It has extremely interesting ideas about quantum physics and multiple realities, and it's just, I could go on and on and on, but basically,
I got a whole set, some Mark Wolf and George Perez. I'm with you.
I think it's a fantastic piece of comic book history. So if you don't know anything about Crisis on Infinite Earths, DC Comics, go ahead and pick up the collected graphic novel if you want to. But if you want the real experience, take the time to go get the full 12-issue series and all the crossovers too, if you really want the full picture. But anyway.
All right. I purposely did not want to see his stuff before this interview, right? I wanted to get the reaction. I wanted to hear him talk about it and stuff. And I'm sitting here flipping through the book and everything like that while he's talking here and stuff. And let me tell you what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing some pacing that I really enjoy. A lot of the big problems with modern comics is that I can't stand the decompressed feel. You can fly through them. You don't have every page filled up with tons and tons of word balloons, but what you've done here is that, like, for 300 pennies and stuff, you're actually going to have a book that you want to set and you want to read to go along with the pictures and stuff. That is effort. That is thought. And that, in other words, I can go on. This is like my first reaction. I dig the idea that we're going to be able to pick this book up. And I tell you what I'm seeing here is that I'm going to go ahead and like tell you, I see like a Steve Gerber for you guys out there and stuff, right? I see a little bit of a head trip going on here. So that's a huge compliment.
I really thank you for that compliment. I mean, I'm talking about Howard the Duck when I think Steve Gerber, and that's one of my favorite series. That's the first appearance of Kiss, number 13, baby. Mm-hmm. Howard the Duck is where it's at. Thank you.
Yeah, and then it's like I saw a few other panels, but I didn't want to like block your face while
you're
talking.
No, that's cool. You can block the face very briefly, but then the stash must take the spotlight.
Oh yeah, I'm not messing with the stash, man. So.
Yeah, it is a read. I will give you that. The fact is, you will not be able to sit down with Metalcultcomics and finish probably in 10 or 15 minutes. This is gonna be a read, but it's worth it.
Well, I want to set it down because I'm getting distracted by it, and that's
cool.
a good thing. So that was impressive. The whole Crisis on Infinite Earths and stuff. Now, some of that biographical, since you're talking about your love of Crisis on Infinite Earths and stuff, or was it just something you put in the plot there?
No, when you read it, I think it all ties in, and you're going to really enjoy how it all ties in.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the personal satisfaction out of all this? Let's talk about you for a second here. What's your satisfaction out of the music, the comics, actually doing this stuff?
I have been obsessed since I was a small child. From the moment I could pick up a pen, from the moment I could pick up a stick and beat the hell out of something to try to make a rhythm or a sound, I have been obsessed with creating.
Awesome.
Taking these ideas that have been swirling around in my head since I was a 5-year-old child, and then when I'm a 10-year-old child, they've grown and expanded, and then when I'm 15, they've grown and expanded anymore. I'm 25, and my ideas are swirling around at an incredible rate, and then now I have grown and I've matured to the point where I can actually take all these ideas
get them out of your head
for all these years and channel them into the comic book, channel them into the music, and have a unique multi-genre entertainment spectacle that people who are into science fiction, fantasy, comic books, heavy metal, that can all enjoy this.
When you consider there's like all the bands that are out there, and you consider all the people kind of doing their comics and stuff like that, I think you have definitely created this atmosphere and world that you live and breathe and eat, it sounds like. And you've really made something that's unique and other people can latch onto it and be part of. And in a way, I'm trying to think who's done that before. So
Nobody has done what I'm doing. I am living this dream. I am everything that I write about, everything that you read about in Metalcultcomics. Yes, I do put a Hunter S. Thompson flair to it, and I do add a lot of fantasy and a lot of adventure. But these are real-time events that happen in my life. These are ideas and forms of expression I have had built up inside me for years and years and years, and now I have the opportunity to share them all with you, and hopefully this inspires other people.
That's awesome.
To create. Don't waste any time, because you don't have it to waste. Now is the opportunity to get out there and write your book, make your movie, jump in the ring and be a professional wrestler and get your ass kicked and kick ass now because you don't have any time to waste. Trust me. And that's why I'm doing this now. When I'm gone, all of you will have something very interesting that you can remember me by and enjoy. And that is what it's all about.
That is awesome. That is awesome. All right. I tell you what, that actually sounds like a good place to kind of close this with those wise words there and stuff like that. So let's talk about how we can promote your stuff here. What do you got? You got Facebook?
All right. Well, let me tell you, the greatest heavy metal underground entertainment movement in the United States and on planet Earth today can be discovered at www.metalcult.net. That's www.metalcult.net. That's where you go to get all the information about the band, the history of the band. You can check out our music there. You can have access to our comic books. We do have 2 comic books on sale right now. The special issue #1 and issue #2. All other physical issues of Metal Cult Comics are currently sold out. We will be compiling a graphic novel that will be available in digital format as well as print in the very near future.
Awesome, man. And now I've checked out your music on YouTube for your band. You are on YouTube. I'll put a link.
Yes.
I'll put a link below. I enjoyed it. Man.
Thank
You
you.
guys look like you're in a club. You had an audience going. Now you play drums. You sing. What else do we do with that?
I write the music. I write the lyrics. Of course, in collaboration with other members of the band who write music and lyrics. It is a complete collaborative effort.
And I remember you telling me that you guys are currently recording.
Yes, we are. We're currently wrapping up production, mixing and mastering for our latest record. It will be coming out in the next couple of months. We are hoping to have it available on August 31st at our next live show, which will be in Galax, Virginia, at a place called S5.
Yeah, and that's on the 31st of August.
That's right. That's right. And we do hope to have the album available then, but we're still working on mixing and mastering and putting together the album cover artwork.
Okay. And we are recording this the last day of July of 2012. So for people who see this video in the future, past that date, I assume those are on sale also. They're able to purchase your CD.
Absolutely. You will be able to access all of our items at www.metalcult.net.
Awesome, man. So we're going to put all the information in there. Hopefully I'll be able to scan some of these books, let you guys see the pages on there. And I just want to thank you for coming by and doing this. This is very cool. I'm so glad you came by. I've been looking forward to this for a while. And guys, check out his stuff. Get this book. I'm sitting here just fascinated with it. I actually got distracted by it. And you guys know what I read and what I do. So, man, we are out of here. And thank you, Dionysis MetalCult.